Hello, Sex Geek. It is Reid from ReidAboutSex.com, creator of Sex Geek Summer Camp. And this is going to be some business advice because I got the green Sex Geek Summer Camp t-shirt. And when you see the canoe with the two Hitachi magic wands, or the magic wand, as they call it now, as the kids are calling it, when you see that logo, unless I'm wearing a sweater, then this is business advice for sex educators. And it's a little windy today. I was gonna walk by the water, but the wind was blowing so hard that I decided to walk you around this other neighborhood and hopefully the buildings. Let's see where we are. Hopefully these buildings will keep it a little quieter. But now there's trucks going by. There's somebody with a leaf blower. This is why people record in sound studios, ladies and gentlemen. As we do our little walk together today, chime in, let me know where you're viewing from. I love seeing where people are. And please feel free to continue emailing me questions and things. We've got a lot of non-sex educator emails coming to me at Reid, R-E-I-D, at ReidAboutSex.com. And but I'm also curious about like business questions for sex educators, workshop facilitators, people like that. Yeah, this has been really fun doing our daily walks, and I don't want to jinx it, but we haven't missed a day yet since we started in early January. So I'm going to keep it going on. I've never really done a thing where I did something every day for a year, except maybe when I was 12 and discovered masturbation, or when I discovered coffee and started drinking coffee every day. Let's see, so talking about things, let me say hi. Hi, Christian. Sweden. Oh my goodness, that's awesome. We love Sweden. And Kella. Hi, Kella. Aww. So here's something. I had a really interesting conversation this morning. I had to get up early because I had to talk to somebody on the East Coast. Ken Herskowitz, who is a business consultant, geeky dude in the sex adult toy, sex ed world. I got introduced to Ken from Emily Morse, and hi Emily, thank you so much for introducing me to Ken. And we had some nerd brain sex this morning, just about, speaking gigs and hosting events and just the business of being an educator and being like a personality. If you're, like a sex celebrity or something like that, or, anybody in the expert field where you market your advice, you position yourself as an educator in a way where people can find you. And not all, like there's some of my friends, some of the people that come to Sex Geek Summer Camp, they're in like the sex therapy, sex therapist world, relationship counselor world, where, people who are looking for a therapist, who are looking for a counselor, they know to kind of do those Google searches. And so there's kind of a business model already out there for folks like that who can, get the licensing and plug themselves into that world. But a lot of us as relationship coaches, intimacy coaches, educators, tantra teachers, whatever, however you identify, we don't have that kind of system, so to speak, to plug ourselves into. For me, I'm not in a position where any entity will allow me to accept insurance to pay for my services. So it's how do you market your services and get your name out there? And one of those ways is just, that's kind of like the expert industry where you're, using social media, I would advocate, to promote your services so that people can find you and so that people learn what it is that you do. And for those of you who want a free resource that will help you find words to explain what it is that you do, you can go to readaboutsex.com/I do sex ed, and that'll give you a link to sign up for to get a worksheet. And two things I want you to do. One, I would like you to go download that worksheet because I think it's helped a lot of people and I get feedback that it does. But I also want you to watch like the behind the scenes of what's happening right now. I'm talking to you and teaching and maybe even just sharing, pontificating on my ideas and thoughts. I send people to a link that has a little video or blurb that encourages people to download a free thing that will help them, in this case, the worksheet. And then you get the email with the link, because not everybody can do the worksheet right away. So you should email them so they have the link for later. And then you can continue to build a relationship with them and teach them what it is that you do. In this instance, I help sex educators and other sex positive entrepreneurs get better at the business of teaching people what it is that they do so that they can then hire them. And I would advocate, in the way that we talk at camp, that you always be educating. We say Abe, Abraham Lincoln, or Abe Vigoda, or whatever other Abe you want to put in there to remember this. But you just educate people for free. You teach them in fun ways. I'm geeking out on Facebook Live and walking around my neighborhood to get outside a little bit. And hopefully this all works really well. And then people get excited. They feel like they're better at solving certain problems of theirs. In this case, educators trying to learn how to make a living. And then if you're interested in camp, you learn about camp, because I mentioned camp. If you want to learn how to design workshops, you check out Sex Geek Design Studio. And that's readaboutsex.com/design studio and readaboutsex.com/camp FAQ for this year's camp frequently asked questions. So you can promote the things that you do in ways that are fun for you. Back to Ken's thing, and now my phone is telling me it had a full battery, but now it's telling me it's 10%. I hate this. I gotta get my phone fixed. What Ken and I were talking about was this idea of sometimes you do speaking gigs for free or for less than you would normally charge, because the gig itself is really useful for you, and it's good positioning. It's a good business opportunity because the opportunity will allow you to do other things. So we were talking about this, and we were talking about hosting the same event annually, or several times a year if it's a multiple more frequently run event. And Ken brought up this really interesting concept I'd never thought about before. It never occurred to me, is if the same kind of people are coming to the same event over and over again, your speaking gig, the reasons you might want to say yes to the speaking gig at first and maybe do it for free, or maybe lessen your speaking fee because maybe the event doesn't have a huge budget, there's just not money there for them to pay you, so you have to figure out how to get paid later, on the back end, so to speak. So for me, I can speak at a conference for free sometimes because I'll get a bunch of people's emails, I'll meet a bunch of new prospective clients or customers, and maybe there's so much promotion about that event that it's just good for my brand. However, hosting that same event each year for the next 6 years, there's kind of a diminishing return, perhaps, to me doing that gig. There's a word for it, depreciation. So like the benefits of the event to me and my brand could possibly depreciate over time. And I just never thought of it like that. So again, like this is your reasoning to do certain things may change over time. And that's okay, like that's normal, that's fine. And when you negotiate opportunities, business opportunities with companies and organizations and individuals or a conference, you might want to bring up that conversation that, hey, over time this might not be a good fit for us. And so we may just want to kind of acknowledge that at some point we may break up, or that our needs may shift, and that's going to be cool. And it's the idea of like pre-negotiating the breakup conversation, even in your business deals, not to be fatalistic, but for you to let people have a bigger picture of who you are and what your business is about, so that when you need to change your mind, or when you're negotiating like a 5-year contract or something like that, you could negotiate into it check-ins every once in a while, just to make sure that everything still feels good for everybody. One, so that you're not locked in to a bad situation, or a situation that becomes bad or less useful. And I just thought that was a really interesting concept. I hadn't thought about the depreciation of opportunity, and I thought that I would share that with you, because I think that might, for some of you, be a more advanced negotiation and just kind of bigger picture business concept. But I think it can be just useful to look at it like that. And especially for me, this applies because I get approached to speak at things and host and MC things a lot, which I love. It's really fun. It gives me an excuse to wear my tuxedo, which is still the best money I ever spent, was buying a tuxedo. I bought it used almost 25 years ago, and it still rocks. So I don't know. I just wanted to share that with you. It was in my head. I'm sharing it with you to anchor the concept for myself, and also because I think it's useful. And I try to do a good job of not hiding information and tools from my community. But also I'm curious about what you think. For those of you who teach and do speaking gigs, like, well, how does this land on you? So that's it. Apparently my phone's about to die again. Leave some questions. Email me at reid@readaboutsex.com. When I get home, I'll check out the comments because they're hard to read just on my little phone. And I'll put the links up in the description for the stuff that we talked about today. Thank you so much for giving me an excuse to get outside and to enjoy the wind, the breeze, the sun. I hope things are good for you. Email me, let me know how it's going, and hopefully someday I'll see you at camp, or at Sexy Design Studio, or at a conference, or online somewhere. And thanks everybody. Thanks Ken for the brain sex this morning, and thanks Emily Morris for all that you do, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.